Good morning, everybody. We're back here with Hank Goldberg. Happy Wednesday, Hank. How are you today?
Good. Got that college football season getting ready to go, and that starts tomorrow for real. And did a seminar last night with some Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sea was there, Andy Isco, and Bernie Fratto from Detroit. Bernie's really down on the Detroit club, and people in Detroit are very down on the coach there. I think he's doing a terrible job. Doesn't get along with the players, too hard on them. I don't think the Lions are going to be very good. He just came back from there and looked at some practices. Says the guys working them very hard, and the players aren't responding all that well. I'll tell you, Bruce made an interesting point. He said you can make money on preseason football, and I think he's right about that. I've done very well with preseason this year, and I think you have too.
I know that Bruce is and the Gold Sheet. They're having a fantastic year in preseason, my own record is 12-3, and I think the Gold, which is unbelievable. Their record is unbelievable. I think they're like 14-1. So you can make money in preseason.
Well, there's some games this weekend that certain teams like Minnesota has a spectacular record, and Baltimore has a spectacular record. And they're always good on the last week of preseason. I think they've got they haven't lost in the last few years. Minnesota right now is something like 20-4. Their last 24 preseason games.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Some of these, it's what it comes down to in preseason. I know you know this. I'm just saying it for the fans out there. It's about what the coaches want to do. Some coaches want to win, and some coaches don't give a darn. Like the Rams, I mean, they don't put anybody on the field. So
no, they don't care.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you something that we mentioned, that we talked about, and we talked. One of the guys that I work with at CBS was there, and Kenny White, and Kenny's very good, and we agreed on this. First week of regular season NFL football, the unders are very, very good. Very, very good plays. And there's a good reason for it. The regulars haven't been playing. And so what happens is this is like preseason for the starting offenses. And they don't have, they're not together yet. And they've had no competition other than, scrimmaging and playing amongst themselves. Now they're going to have to go up against real defenses for the first time. And so the scores are low to start the season with. So that's a little tip for people.
I do believe that the defenses have an advantage early in the season because of the timing issues that the offense hasn't gotten it together for the most part. But the problem with it, a lot of this is the odds makers also know a lot of this. So your numbers are reflective of that problem, so you might be taking a short.
Doesn't matter. It's over the last few years, overwhelmingly, defense. The unders have come through the first week of the season.
Well, that's what this podcast is all about: giving away good tips to customers so they can get out there and win some money, so we can have a good long season together. It's going to be great. I mean, I'm looking forward to the college football is really shaping up. There's some great plays out there this weekend. The NFL, finally, we're getting down to the fourth week. Every game will be played tomorrow and Thursday. And then we go to next Thursday when the Green Bay Packers visit the Chicago Bears and open the NFL season. So we have a big weekend of college football. And this week we got the preseason games ending. This is an exciting time. And last week, I don't think we even mentioned it, but we saw Rory McIlroy win $15 million in the FedEx Cup. And congratulations to him. That's a hell of a payday.
Yeah, I think we did mention it on Monday. But anyway, that's over with, and it's. But Koepka got the Player of the Year award. Anyway, some interesting games on Thursday. Utah and BYU is one of them. That could be a high-scoring game. And Utah is less than a touchdown favorite over BYU. UCLA and Cincinnati is an interesting game because Cincinnati, that number's been going down. And Cincinnati was a 3-point favorite. I think it's down to 1.5 now. So a lot of money has been showing up for UCLA. There's some games that I think are worthy of looking at, like Virginia Tech and Boston College is a good early season matchup. Oklahoma and Houston will be interesting to watch. There's at least there's of course I think the biggest game of the weekend is going to be Oregon and Auburn. And a lot of money is talking with Chuck Esposito last night. He's a lot of money is coming in on Auburn in that game, and I think there's a reason for it. Although Oregon's got the great quarterback and they're a very good team, but I think that's a conference bias. You know, people think that the Southeast Conference is so superior, but that'll be a good game to watch.
Yeah, when you look at what the Pac-12 did last year in Oregon's record and traveling across country to play an SEC team, yeah, I can see a lot of conference bias in that. But you know, you do have the superior quarterback with Oregon. Yeah, that's there's a lot of mixed feelings on that. But what I've seen is a lot of bets, small bets, have been on Oregon team, but there's a lot of sharps on the Auburn side. So very interesting. You mentioned the UCLA-Cincinnati game. I just looked at the current line, and it's back up to 3. So there's
really?
Yeah, it's just right. It's across the board, Hank. It popped this morning. Every line out there is 3. So it's and that's a 20-some books that I look at right now. And the other game.
Well, last night when we did the seminar, the number had dropped to 1.5.
I know.
I guess people then started seeing the money go the other way.
The Utah game was, running around 6, some 5.5s. This morning it's 7. Utah is 7 in that game now. There's, it is Wednesday and the games are tomorrow, so a lot of your sharp money comes in late. They try to pick off numbers that have been moved in a direction they didn't agree with, and they pick up value that way. It's exciting, and it's a battle between the Joes and the pros and the bookmakers, and it's a battle. It's what it is. It's a war, and it begins this weekend. It's fun.
I want to talk quickly about preseason totals and where there was some surprises about last night. One that I was not surprised about was that we were all in agreement that Buffalo is going to have a good year. Josh Allen is a good quarterback. They've got good defense. They've got we had an interesting debate because Bernie thinks that Adam Gase is going to do a good job with the Jets, and I don't think he is. I think he was a terrible coach with the Dolphins. He got rid of 7 players who went on to Pro Bowl, guys he got rid of in Miami. He's a bad judge of talent, and I think his record with quarterbacks is a joke. I don't think he did anything to improve Peyton Manning like they say he did. Peyton Manning was pretty well accomplished by the time he got to him. And the guy he had in Chicago, come on. Anyway, we'll see what he does with the second-year quarterback with the Jets. But I think that the Buffalo quarterback, and I don't think he's long-term going to be better than the guy with the Jets, but I think that the Buffalo quarterback is further along right now than the Jets quarterback is. And I think that they're going to be competitive.
And they.
The other thing, the one other thing that we talked about was who could have a bad year, who could have a good year. Tampa Bay. They're going to be better defensively. Arians is going to be a good coach, but that quarterback is a head case, and that could be problematical for them. We were in agreement that the two teams who are superior in the NFC are the Rams and New Orleans. And, some guys think that Kansas City lost too many players on defense, but they replaced them with good players. And that their schedule is tough, but you know what? Kansas City is going to be a problem for all those tough teams because that quarterback is as good as there is. It's going to be interesting to watch Kansas City this year. And we were in agreement that we don't like the Denver offense. And there was some disagreement about the Bears. I like the Bears. The other guys, Andy Isco likes them too, but they don't like Trubisky, and they think that he's going to drag them down. And he thinks that they're going. A couple of guys think they're going to miss the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Denver. But I'll tell you, the defensive coordinator they brought in there, who has been a great defensive coordinator in his career, better than he had been as a head coach. And I don't think they'll lose anything defensively because they got all those terrific players. They're going to have a good running game. So those are some of the areas that we discussed. We went all over the lot.
You talk about defense. Denver may be a little sluggish on the offensive side of the ball, but their defense looks solid, and that could cause a problem for some teams that are not up to snuff in that area. I noticed one thing you said in the NFC. You didn't mention Philadelphia, and a lot of people feel Philadelphia has the best roster.
Yeah, that's true. Although I think the Rams are superior defensively. Wentz has to stay healthy. That's key with Philadelphia. But
yeah.
They've got a good solid club, and they're right there. But I'll tell you something. Dallas will challenge them this year if they get their roster together.
You hear anything about the signing of Gordon or Elliott?
No, because there's nothing to hear.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'd like to just bring up one other thing. There was a big move because of Andrew Luck retiring. The lines changed dramatically all across the board, with them winning their division, with the first game odds against the Chargers, which was 3 at one time, went up to 7. I really believe that that's still the best team in that division. That's all my opinion. I think their offensive line is terrific. Their defense is good. I like their head coach. Brissett was a talented guy. He was drafted, went to New England. A lot of people felt that he was the better of the two backups in Garoppolo and Brissett. Now he gets a chance to work with Frank Reich, who's had a tremendous success. He had a good career. He's had tremendous success working with backup quarterbacks. I really feel that they've really overreacted, and I think that the Colts are still going to win that division.
Well, I'll give you a reason why I don't think that can happen. And the other teams in that division certainly I think Tennessee moves up and Houston moves up. Although Clowney looks like he might be going to the Dolphins. But there were a lot of close games that Indianapolis played last year where luck brought them through in the last few minutes. This is where the pressure is going to be on Brissett. Can he win those close games that are decided late in the fourth quarter that luck was able to bring them through? Or luck brought them through with some really tremendous fourth quarter play. And that's going to be the difference between those two quarterbacks. It's giant.
I do believe there's a tremendous fall off from Luck to Brissett. I just feel the other departments of that team, starting with the head coach, the defense, the offensive line.
Somebody's pounding on my door.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry. Let's put it on hold for a second.
Okay, we're back. Minor interruption there. I get them as well.
Emergency.
Okay, Hank, we'll let you go. We'll talk again.
Yeah, my driver's not available.
I'm sorry, folks. Hank had to run. Minor emergency, nothing that can't be fixed, but he's got to take care of it right away. So I'm going to just finish this up. Tell you that Hank's plays and mine are available at jimfeist.com. We're both doing very well. We're very, very optimistic about the season. We've done our work, as you can tell by our conversations. I gave it a free play the other day with Texas State against Texas A&M, and I still agree with that. And I feel that there's going to be a few minor upsets along the way this week. Don't get too tied up with laying too big a chalk. As far as preseason week 4, it's probably the toughest of all the preseason weeks because so many people are not going to play. I mean, it's going to be kind of ridiculous in effect. But Hank mentioned a couple of records with the Ravens and the Vikings and how they approach these games, and they are sides to look at. But you're going to be chasing some numbers, so be cautious with that. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we have the free play that you just call that up and call the number or go to the website, jimfeist.com. You can register for free play each and every day throughout the season. Once you register, you keep getting the plays.